Welcome everyone to Wisdom and Wealth. Are you ready to explore the profound questions of life and beyond? Today, we're delving into a topic that touches us all, death. Specifically, we'll be looking at what happens after death, Buddhism's view on rebirth and karma. This is part 1, and we'll begin with understanding the nature of death in Buddhism. This video is especially for those of you over 40 who might be contemplating these big questions. This topic offers a unique perspective that may bring comfort and understanding. And if you find this discussion insightful, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We aim to bring wisdom and guidance to your life's journey. In Buddhism, death isn't viewed as the ultimate ending. That's so important to remember as we get older and more aware of our mortality. Instead, it's seen as a significant moment of transition, a shift in the continuous flow of existence. Think of it as the sun setting, not signaling the end of the day, but rather giving way to the night, which in turn prepares for a new dawn. Or picture a leaf falling from a tree, not as an act of destruction, but as making space for vibrant new growth to emerge in its place. It's a natural and continuous cycle. The Buddha taught that life is a continuous river of experience, not a stagnant or fixed point. This understanding is rooted in the core principles of impermanence, anicca, non-self, anatta, and the interconnectedness of all things. These principles are essential to understanding the Buddhist perspective on life and death. If you find that these teachings resonate with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content on living a more enriched life. Impermanence, or anicca, stands as one of the most central and pervasive teachings in Buddhism. The Buddha repeatedly emphasized this truth to his disciples, reminding them that all conditioned things are impermanent. When we truly grasp this with wisdom, we begin to turn away from suffering, a goal for us all as we navigate life's challenges. Everything that arises, without exception, must eventually pass away. This applies to our physical bodies, our cherished possessions, our closest relationships, and even the seemingly solid thoughts that occupy our minds. Everything is subject to constant change. Death, in this perspective, becomes simply another facet of impermanence, a natural and unavoidable part of the ever-flowing process of existence. By acknowledging the truth of impermanence, we can prepare ourselves to face death with understanding and a sense of inner peace, rather than fear or resistance. The concept of non-self, or anatta, further deepens our understanding of death in Buddhism. The Buddha taught that what we typically perceive as the self is actually a composite of ever-changing physical and mental elements. There is no permanent, unchanging essence residing within us. The understanding frees us of the fear that we are losing our sense of self, our being. Death, therefore, does not signify the end of a self, because such a fixed and independent self doesn't truly exist. As the Buddha articulated, just as a chariot is made up of various parts and does not exist as an independent entity, so too is the body and mind a collection of elements. When we truly grasp this profound truth, we can begin to release the fear of losing something that was never truly ours to begin with. It allows us to approach death with greater acceptance and less clinging. At this halfway point, we invite you to like the video and subscribe to our channel. In the Buddhist framework, death is not a cause for dread or perceived as a moment of finality. Instead, it's understood as a moment of transition within samsara, the intricate and vast cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. This cyclical process is driven by the powerful force of karma, the intentional actions we perform through our thoughts, words, and deeds. The Buddha explained that our actions, whether physical, verbal, or mental, create seeds that will bear fruit in this life or in future lives. Death becomes the closing of one chapter in the ongoing story of our existence and the opening of another, shaped by the karma we have accumulated throughout our lives. As such, it is not the end of our story, just a significant pause. The teachings of Buddhism actively encourage us to prepare for death. But this preparation isn't about dwelling in fear or anxiety. Instead, it involves living our lives in alignment with ethical principles, cultivating a mind of clarity and compassion, and developing a deep understanding of the nature of reality. When the Buddha was asked about the most important practice for preparing for death, he emphasized the value of mindfulness of death. This practice, developed and frequently engaged in, brings immense benefit and leads to liberation. Mindfulness of death entails reflecting on the undeniable reality that life is finite. This practice isn't meant to induce anxiety. Rather, it instills a sense of urgency to live meaningfully and to make choices that are wholesome and beneficial. Understanding death as a transition, rather than an absolute ending, allows us to approach it with wisdom and equanimity, a balanced and peaceful state of mind. It serves as a powerful reminder to live fully in the present moment, to act with kindness and integrity, and to let go of attachments that bind us to suffering. The Buddha's timeless words echo across the ages: do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. This profound teaching serves not only as a guide for living a more fulfilling life but also as a preparation for death, encouraging us to live with awareness and to die with peace. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. In Buddhism, the idea of rebirth provides a framework for understanding what happens after death. It is very important to note that rebirth does not imply the transfer of a soul or an unchanging essence from one body to another. Rather, it refers to the continuity of consciousness, a stream that flows from one life to the next. This stream is shaped by the cumulative effects of karma, the actions, thoughts, and intentions accumulated over a lifetime. The Buddha described it beautifully as one flame lighting another. The new flame is not identical to the old one, but it arises because of it. Similarly, rebirth is not the continuation of a fixed entity, but rather the arising of a new existence conditioned by past actions. The Buddha made it clear that what is reborn is not a permanent self. He said, consciousness arises dependent on conditions. When those conditions cease, consciousness ceases. This means that consciousness is not a self or a soul. It is a process, dependent on causes and conditions. At the moment of death, this stream of consciousness does not simply vanish. Instead, it takes on a new form, influenced by the accumulated actions, intentions, and mental states that have shaped a person's life. Think of it as a river flowing into a new landscape. The water is still water, but the environment through which it flows is different, shaping its course and character. The qualities of that landscape will shape the next part of the journey, so it is key to be mindful of the seeds that are sown. Rebirth occurs within the framework of dependent origination, or paticca samuppada. This teaching explains that all phenomena arise due to specific conditions and cease when those conditions are no longer present. It is through this intricate chain of causation that the cycle of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, is maintained. The 12 links of dependent origination describe how ignorance and craving lead to birth and death, creating the conditions for rebirth. By understanding this process, one can begin to break free from the cycle. Understanding the origins and nature of this cycle allows you to choose what seeds you wish to sow, for a better garden ahead. The realms of rebirth are often described as 6. These are the heavenly realm, the human realm, the realm of asuras, demigods, the animal realm, the realm of hungry ghosts, pretas, and the hellish realms. These realms are not necessarily physical places, but rather states of existence shaped by karma. They represent different levels of experience and suffering. They are ways of understanding the nature of consciousness after death, and how our actions determine these. For instance, virtuous actions and a mind of generosity and compassion may lead to a heavenly rebirth, while actions driven by anger and cruelty may result in a hellish state. It's like choosing to live in a beautiful home, or an unpleasant one. The human realm is considered particularly precious because it offers the opportunity to practice the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha, and work toward liberation. It provides the right conditions for spiritual growth. The Buddha emphasized that rebirth is not a matter of chance. It is governed by the law of karma, which operates with precision. He explained, beings are the owners of their actions, the heirs of their actions. Actions are the womb, the relative, and the refuge of beings. Whatever actions they perform, wholesome or unwholesome, they will inherit those. This means that the quality of one's rebirth is directly linked to the ethical and mental qualities cultivated in life. The seeds we plant will sprout in the life to come. While the idea of rebirth may seem complex, it ultimately underscores the importance of our actions here and now. The present moment is where we plant the seeds for the future. By living ethically, cultivating a mind of kindness and clarity, and letting go of harmful attachments, we can shape a favorable rebirth. However, more importantly, we can move closer to the ultimate goal of liberation from the cycle altogether. The Buddha taught that understanding rebirth is not just about what happens after death, but also about how we live. When we recognize that our actions have far-reaching consequences, we naturally strive to act in ways that bring benefit rather than harm. It teaches us to take responsibility for our thoughts and actions, and to make conscious choices that lead to positive outcomes. As he wisely said, just as the shadow follows the body, so too does the result of our actions follow us. This teaching reminds us to live with awareness, knowing that our thoughts, words, and deeds create the conditions for what comes next. Rebirth, then, is not something to be feared but understood. It is a reflection of the law of cause and effect, offering us the opportunity to learn, grow, and ultimately transcend the cycle of samsara. By understanding it, we can live with more wisdom, compassion, and a sense of purpose. We ask you to like and subscribe if you are enjoying this video. Karma is a foundational concept in Buddhism, a principle so deeply woven into the teachings of the Buddha that it shapes the understanding of life, death, and rebirth. Often misunderstood as a simplistic idea of reward and punishment, karma is, in reality, a complex and profound truth that reflects the moral and spiritual law of cause and effect. It's a universal principle, governing our experiences and shaping our future. The Buddha described karma succinctly: by oneself is evil done, by oneself is one defiled, by oneself is good done, by oneself is one purified. Purity and impurity depend on oneself. No one can purify another. Karma, as taught by the Buddha, refers to intentional actions, thoughts, words, and deeds that arise from the mind. It is through these actions that we create our world. These actions leave imprints, or seeds, on the stream of consciousness, which will bear fruit when conditions ripen. It is essential to understand that karma is not fate or predestination. Instead, it is dynamic and ever-changing, shaped by our ongoing choices and intentions. We are not simply puppets of destiny, but active agents in creating our own reality. In the Buddha's words, it is volition, monks, that I call karma. For having willed, one acts by body, speech, and mind. It all begins with intention. The distinction between wholesome and unwholesome actions is central to the understanding of karma. Wholesome actions, those rooted in generosity, compassion, and wisdom, lead to positive outcomes. While unwholesome actions, those driven by greed, hatred, and delusion, result in suffering. Karma is not about divine judgment, but the natural consequences of our actions. The Buddha likened this to planting seeds: if you sow a seed of sweet fruit, you will reap sweet fruit. If you sow a seed of bitter fruit, you will reap bitter fruit. The kind of seed we sow determines the kind of fruit we harvest. It's a simple but profound principle. The role of intention, or satana, is the heart of karma. Two individuals might perform the same act outwardly, but their karmic results could differ greatly depending on their motivations. The intention behind our actions is what truly matters. For example, giving to others with a pure heart generates powerful wholesome karma, while giving for selfish recognition diminishes the positive impact. It's not just what we do, but why we do it. The Buddha highlighted this by saying, "What we think, we become." With our thoughts, we make the world. Our thoughts are the seeds of our actions, and they shape our reality. Karma not only influences this life but also shapes the conditions of future rebirths. It determines the realm into which one is born, whether as a human, an animal, or in a heavenly or hellish state. The Buddha's teachings can help you reach enlightenment and live a fuller life. Yet karma is not a fixed deterministic force. The Buddha emphasized that we have the power to change our karma through mindfulness, ethical living, and spiritual practice. We are not prisoners of our past, but have the capacity to transform our future. He reassured his followers, even if one has done evil in the past, if one makes effort to purify the mind and live virtuously, one shines like the moon freed from clouds. Through effort and wisdom, we can change the trajectory of our lives. The law of karma reminds us of our responsibility for our own lives. It urges us to live with awareness, knowing that every thought, word, and deed has consequences. The Buddha teaches that all life is connected to each other and to live in peace with everyone. It also inspires hope, for it teaches that through effort and wisdom, we can transform our circumstances. This understanding is liberating as it places the power for change firmly within our hands. Ultimately, the purpose of reflecting on karma is not to become entangled in thoughts of reward or punishment, but to awaken a deeper understanding of the interconnected nature of life. Karma teaches us that our actions ripple outward, influencing not only our future but also the lives of others. The wisdom can lead to a more peaceful and enriched life. As the Buddha said, just as a drop of water can raise the level of a full pot, so too can small acts of goodness accumulate and bring great benefit. By understanding and practicing the principles of karma, we align ourselves with the natural law of cause and effect. We cultivate the seeds of wisdom and compassion, paving the way for a life of peace and a future of liberation. This teaching is not abstract or distant. It is an invitation to live with integrity and purpose in the here and now. Let us embrace the power of karma to create a better world for ourselves and for all beings. At this time, we would like to encourage you to like and subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth. Thank you. At the heart of the Buddha's teachings lies a profound aspiration. Liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth known as samsara. This cycle, driven by ignorance and craving, is marked by suffering. It's a relentless wheel of pain and dissatisfaction. The Buddha's awakening revealed a path to transcend this endless cycle, offering a vision of freedom, peace, and ultimate truth. Nirvana, the ultimate goal in Buddhism, is not a place or a state of existence. It is the cessation of suffering and the extinguishing of the causes that fuel samsara. Ignorance, craving, and aversion. The Buddha described it as the unconditioned and the deathless, a state where the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion are extinguished. It's a state of perfect peace and liberation. He said, there is, monks, an unborn, unbecome, unmade, uncompounded. If there were not this unborn, unbecome, unmade, uncompounded, there could not be the escape from what is born, become, made, and compounded. This is the essence of nirvana. A state beyond all conditioned phenomena. The path to liberation is the Noble Eightfold Path, a practical guide that encompasses ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom. It is through this path that one weakens the forces of karma and breaks free from the cycle of rebirth. The Buddha emphasized the transformative power of this path, saying, just as the great ocean has one taste, the taste of salt, so too does my teaching have one taste, the taste of liberation. By following the Eightfold Path, you can also transform your current life into a better and more fulfilling one. Ethical conduct, or sila, forms the foundation of the path. By living with integrity, avoiding harm, speaking truthfully, and acting with kindness, we create the conditions for inner peace and clarity. These guidelines bring you closer to nirvana. The Buddha often reminded his disciples, happiness follows the virtuous like a shadow that never departs. Mental discipline, cultivated through mindfulness and concentration, allows us to see reality as it truly is. The Buddha's teachings are very helpful for achieving this discipline. The practice of meditation calms the mind, sharpens awareness, and uncovers the deep truths of impermanence, suffering, and non-self. The Buddha encouraged his followers to persist in their practice, saying, meditate, monks, do not delay, lest you later regret it. Wisdom, the crown of the path, arises from direct insight into the nature of reality. It's the understanding that sets us free. This wisdom dispels ignorance, the root cause of samsara. It reveals the interconnectedness of all things and the emptiness of inherent existence. The Buddha described this awakening as seeing the world as it really is, free from distortion and delusion. You can come closer to ultimate enlightenment through these teachings. The journey to liberation is not an easy one. It requires dedication, effort, and a willingness to let go of attachments. But the Buddha assured his followers that liberation is possible for anyone who walks the path with sincerity. He said, "The awakened one is the one who perseveres." Even a drop of water, falling persistently, can wear away the hardest rock. The teachings also offer numerous examples of individuals who attained liberation, serving as inspiration and guidance. Learning about the path of enlightenment can give inspiration and lead one to enlightenment as well. In the Pali Canon, stories of arahants, the enlightened ones, illustrate the profound transformation that occurs when one breaks free from samsara. These stories remind us that the goal is attainable, not just for monks or scholars, but for anyone who earnestly applies the teachings. Liberation from samsara is not about escaping life, but about fully understanding it. It is the ultimate freedom, where one no longer clings to illusions or suffers the consequences of ignorance. The Buddha's words resonate timelessly: there is no fire like passion, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no happiness like peace. This peace, found in nirvana, is the fulfillment of the Buddha's vision. May this video and channel bring you closer to the Buddha's teachings. A life beyond suffering, a mind beyond delusion, and a heart at rest in the truth. In Buddhist teachings, death is not seen as an isolated event but as a culmination of how one has lived. The Buddha often emphasized the importance of living mindfully and ethically. For these qualities prepare the mind to face death with clarity and peace. Living in the now and being kind is the key to an easy passing and afterlife. To approach death skillfully, one must cultivate practices that align with the teachings, ensuring a transition marked by wisdom and serenity. One of the foundational practices is mindful living, which naturally leads to a mindful death. The Buddha's teachings can help greatly along this path. The Buddha once said, "If with a pure mind a person speaks or acts, happiness follows them like a never-departing shadow." Mindful living means being fully present in each moment, aware of one's thoughts, words, and deeds. This awareness helps us recognize impermanence and fosters a sense of acceptance, allowing us to let go of attachments and approach death with equanimity. With wisdom in the mind, death can be an easier passing. Meditation plays a crucial role in preparing for death. Among the many meditation practices in Buddhism, Maranasati, mindfulness of death, is particularly significant. This practice involves reflecting on the inevitability of death, not to create fear but to deepen one's appreciation for life and cultivate detachment from transient things. By learning to understand death, you can grow to fear it less. The Buddha advised his disciples, just as all the great rivers flow to the ocean, so too does life flow toward death. Therefore, be diligent. By meditating on death, one becomes more attuned to the impermanence of all things, reducing the fear and anxiety that often accompany the thought of dying. It fosters an understanding that death is a natural part of existence, no different from the changing of seasons or the rising and setting of the sun. With less to worry about, you can live life to the fullest. This perspective encourages acceptance, helping individuals meet death with a calm and steady mind. Another key practice is the cultivation of merit. In Buddhist tradition, merit refers to the positive spiritual energy generated through wholesome actions such as generosity, ethical conduct, and meditation. Merit can shape the afterlife and help lead you to the path to enlightenment. By accumulating merit, one creates favorable conditions for a peaceful death and a positive rebirth. The Buddha often encouraged acts of generosity, saying, "If people knew, as I know, the results of giving and sharing, they would not eat without having given." This is a virtue that is very important in the Buddhist tradition. Merit can also be dedicated to others, a practice known as patidana. By transferring merit to loved ones or all sentient beings, one extends compassion beyond oneself, fostering a sense of interconnectedness and reducing selfish clinging. Be virtuous and compassionate in your life, and this can ensure an easy death and passing. This act of generosity not only benefits others, but also purifies the mind of the giver, creating a sense of peace and fulfillment. Compassion is another essential quality to develop as one prepares for death. By practicing metta, loving kindness, and karuna, compassion, individuals soften their hearts and reduce fear. The Buddha emphasized the transformative power of compassion, saying, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love." This is the eternal rule. Love and compassion are key to a fulfilling life. A compassionate heart, free from resentment or ill will, is a heart that can let go gracefully at the moment of death. For those accompanying someone nearing the end of life, providing an environment of peace and support is equally important. Chanting Buddhist scriptures, reciting mantras, or simply offering words of comfort, can help the dying person focus their mind on wholesome thoughts. With wisdom and compassion, you can help ease the passing of a friend or loved one. The Buddha advised that the final moments are crucial, for the mental state at the time of death strongly influences the nature of rebirth. Another valuable practice is reflecting on the qualities of the Buddha, the Dhamma, teachings, and the Sangha, spiritual community. This reflection instills confidence and inspires faith, helping the mind to remain focused and uplifted. The Buddha assured his followers, "Whoever recollects the Buddha with a pure heart finds joy in the present and secures peace in the future." All these steps help you have an easier death. In preparing for death, the ultimate aim is not merely a favorable rebirth, but liberation from the cycle of samsara. The practices of mindfulness, meditation, merit cultivation, and ethical living all work together to weaken the forces of craving and ignorance, paving the way for awakening. The teachings can lead to the path to enlightenment. The Buddha reminded his disciples, "Be a lamp unto yourselves, be your own refuge, seek no other refuge." These words encourage self-reliance and inspire individuals to take full responsibility for their spiritual journey. Death, in the Buddhist view, is not something to be feared or avoided but a profound opportunity for spiritual growth. By preparing for it skillfully, one not only ensures a peaceful transition but also moves closer to the ultimate freedom of nirvana. This preparation is a gift not only to oneself but also to others, as it sets an example of how to face life's greatest transition with dignity, wisdom, and compassion. The Buddhist perspective on death is neither grim nor escapist. It is a vision rooted in reality, offering profound insights into life's impermanence and interconnectedness. Death is understood as a transformation, a doorway leading to the next stage in the cycle of existence. Thank you for coming on this journey with us. Through the lens of the Buddha's teachings, this transition becomes not an end, but a natural part of the flow of samsara. Central to this understanding is the law of karma, which highlights the responsibility we have for shaping our lives and future experiences. Knowing the power and weight of karma can help you move through this life easier. The Buddha's words remind us, what we are today comes from our thoughts of yesterday, and our present thoughts build our life of tomorrow. This teaching empowers individuals to live ethically, mindfully, and with compassion, knowing that every action has consequences. The preparation for death begins in life. Death can be a peaceful experience if it is prepared for during life. By embracing mindfulness, cultivating merit, and practicing meditation, we lay the foundation for a peaceful death and a positive rebirth. These practices, deeply rooted in the teachings of the Buddha, serve as tools for overcoming fear and attachment, allowing us to face life's greatest uncertainty with wisdom and courage. Ultimately, the Buddhist teachings on death aim to inspire liberation. While the cycle of samsara continues for most, the path of the Noble Eightfold Path offers a way out. It is not a physical or spiritual path, but a combination of them. The attainment of nirvana, the cessation of birth, death, and rebirth, is the culmination of the spiritual journey. It is the realization of a state beyond suffering, where the mind is free and the heart rests in the unconditioned peace of truth. The Buddha left us with a timeless reminder: all conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence. With the proper guidance, you can get closer to the Buddha and to your own sense of wisdom. These words encapsulate the essence of the Buddhist approach to death and life, a call to awaken, to live with awareness, and to seek the highest freedom. In understanding death, we find not despair, but the wisdom to live fully and the hope of ultimate liberation. Death can be a path to the next stage of life, with a positive outlook. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the Buddhist perspective on death. If you found this discussion valuable, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Wisdom and Wealth for more insights into living a richer, more meaningful life. We hope to see you on the next video.